from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, March 18th. So welcome to full moon day. The moon is going to be at its peak energy at 3:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't downloaded your moon guide, go do that. If you haven't listened to the astro forecast for this full moon in Virgo, please go do that. We have a lot of energy building up here today. Just as we hit that full moon peak at a 27 degree, the moon is going to go void, of course, making its way into Libran energy. The Libran energy is going to provide us with a little bit of balance between our heart and our head. Of course, with the moon in Leo just the last couple of days, that was very heart focused. The moon in Virgo is very head focused. And now moving into Libra, we're going to bring them together. We're going to find some balance. We're going to find some peace. We're going to find some harmony. But we got to get through the full moon peak energy first. It is going to be a doozy. We are wrapping up this old calendar at a 27 degree. We're wrapping up the life lessons that actually began about 3 years ago. The Virgo energy, of course, wants to provide a huge amount of healing to our psyche, to our heart space, to our physical body. It is where we have to be illuminated, to where new systems and structures need to be adopted in our lives, in our routines, in our diets, in our exercise. Why? Because we have to take care of the mind, body, and soul. But in order to do that, we have to balance it with our spiritual practice, of course. The Piscean energy is spiritual, it's dreamy, it's creative, and it directly opposes this physical realm, the physical body, the physical tasks and chores that we have to engage in on a daily, and where it is that many of us have been living in extremes, many of us living without a spiritual, disciplined practice, and where it is that we got to get our shit together before we enter into this brand new calendar, where the equinox energy is going to even things out, balance things out, give us an even playing field. So it is going to be quite the day. You will learn through listening to the astro forecast, through your moon guide, that we are under the influence of a grand trine. We have a grand trine taking place in Earth. So we have Virgo, Taurus, Pluto energy. You mix all of them together. What do you get? You get a dramatic transformation taking place in our physical bodies, in our physical reality, in the circumstances of our physical timelines. This is no joke. This is the shake-up and the wake-up that we need to kind of get our shit together before we enter into a brand new calendar. We are in the equinox energy. We are in the very ending part of the sun being in Pisces. There's a lot of pressure for us to really get a grip on the spiritual lessons that we've been learning and get a grip on what it is that we need to do in our physical lives to balance the boat, to balance our heart and head, and to finally start taking actions in our physical realm that would suggest that we have our shit together in our heart space and in our head space. There are 10 different aspects taking place here today. 8 of them involve the moon. The moon, as it builds to its peak energy, is going to bump into Venus in not the nicest way. This, again, the Virgo energy is helping us analyze the details of our heart space, of our head space, of our personal relationships, of our worth, of our value, on what it is that we actually need. And of course, we can create that framework based off of what it is that we currently don't have. That is the shadow work that we do in the moon guides. And the Venus energy right now is showing us where it is that we have to enforce new boundaries in order to protect ourselves emotionally, to protect the newfound worth, the newfound confidence, the newfound self-esteem that we have found within ourselves, and to cut the cord and move ourselves away from any person in our lives that is not willing to meet us at our newfound power. The moon is going to bump into Saturn, the Lord of Karma. This is a very harmonious aspect, which means that we're ready to boss up. We're ready to cut the cord with whoever is not encouraging and supporting of our changes, of our boundaries. We are ready to really take control of our own power, of our own authority, recognize where new routines, new systems, new foundations need to be built, because the futuristic dream and vision that we have of ourselves requires us to make some serious changes in the here and now in order for us to actually get in alignment with being able to manifest that vision and that dream that we're now inspired to pursue. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Uranus. This is the last aspect that takes place before the full moon energy peaks. And this isn't the most pleasant aspect because it's creating a lot of confusion. That happens with the full moon energy. Everything is under a microscope. Everything is being fully blasted. Everything is a little bit extra. The volume is all the way up. And because this Uranian energy likes to shock us, likes to push us into chaos and disruption in order for us to find a new perspective, in order for us to gain a new sense of clarity, we're definitely going to be all over the place. We're definitely going to be feeling anxiety. We're going to be feeling a little bit panicky. This is a direct attack on our central nervous system. If you haven't listened to the ascension forecast for this week, I would definitely recommend that you do that. The ascension symptoms obviously have been peaking all week with the solar flares coming in, with the CMEs popping off, and the full moon energy is only going to add to that. At 3:18 a.m., this is when the moon opposes the sun. And again, this is what gives us our full moon energy. It's Virgo versus Pisces. It's the physical versus the spiritual. It is the tasks and chores versus the spiritual discipline. It is the logical, practical, here and now versus the dreamy, creative, anything is possible of the future. Again, please download your moon guide, do the work, do the shadow work, pick yourself apart, recognize where it is that you need to let some parts of yourself go in order to put yourself back together in a better way without these blockages, without this element of your shadow self trying to self-sabotage the future dreams and visions that you're now currently inspired to pursue. The moon goes ahead and trines Pluto right after it peaks. And here's the thing, this is the last aspect that it makes before the moon goes void of course and moves out of the Virgo energy and attempts to move into the Libran energy. This is a trine. This is a good aspect. The Pluto energy, again, is the god of the underworld, really showing us our shadow self, really showing us our past pain, our past trauma, the pain and suffering that we've had to go through because it's been divinely scripted in order to push us into our state of power and authority. This is a beautiful energy because it means that this full moon energy is truly transforming us on an emotional level, on a psychological level, on a spiritual level. And once those three are in agreement, then we can start taking the actions in our physical realm to manifest the kind of energy that we're now tapping into. And this is a beautiful aspect because the Plutonian energy is part of this grand trine Earth triangle that we got going on between Pluto, Taurus, and Virgo. The Tauran energy comes in with the true node. That's the futuristic vision that we have. That's the plans for the future. That's our destiny point. So you best believe that this is going to be an aha moment. This is going to be a full illumination of our heart and our head and of the spiritual lessons that we had to go through in order to actually meet ourselves in our truest power. This is when the moon goes void, of course, and it will not be locking into the Libran energy, technically wee hours of Saturday morning. So all the other aspects that are going to follow is while the moon is void, still in Virgo energy, very, very shaky, very uncertain. This is kind of when we lose our faith, lose our direction, where things are just not as solid as they were when the moon was not void. So while the moon is doing its thing, we have Venus sextiling Chiron. This is an aha moment, really feeding off of the full moon energy, showing us where it is that we are going to find the solutions in our personal relationships that we deem to be of value and where it is that we need to heal them. Likely through healing the wounds on our heart space first, healing the understanding in our psyche that the full moon just would have illuminated for us. And of course, this is going to show us where we need to either have the conversation with the old people in our lives to see whether or not they're going to boss up and meet us where it is that we're at so that we can move forward together, or where it is that we're going to cut the cord and create the space for new people to actually enter. The sun goes ahead and sextiles Pluto. This is a huge transformation within oneself. This particular aspect actually takes place at 3:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 3:33 is a very divine number, very powerful time of the day. And this is essentially where it is that we recognize what it is we have to let go of, what it is that we need to shed. We talked in this week's Ascension forecast about being in the stage of purging the old calendar, where we are essentially shedding the skin as if we were snakes, right? We have to shed the skin of the old in order to be our bright, shiny selves. And as we move out of this old calendar and into a new calendar, we are very much having to shed our outer skin. Why? Because we need to embody the new. What new do we need to embody? Well, those realizations would have came to you doing the work, the shadow work necessary under the full moon. This is a huge transformation of self. This is a huge realization where it is that we're leaving our old selves behind in order to embody the qualities and characteristics of the new selves that we have to be in order to bring our dreams and visions to life. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Saturn, and Saturn is going to keep us hella accountable, hella responsible for our own emotions, for our own power, for our own actions, and what it is that we need to do to bust free from the old roles, the old responsibilities, the old commitments that we're no longer in alignment with, and where it is that we got to get to work building new systems and structures to actually support our dreams and visions that we are now inspired to manifest. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Uranus. This is a beautiful energy because our minds are blown wide open. We are seeing everything from a different light, a different perspective. We are seeing the bigger, broader picture here. We are inspired to make these changes. We are inspired to move forward. We are cutting the cord with anything that does not make us feel supported and encouraged to move forward. This is a beautiful energy. This is likely going to be the energy zap that we need in order to muster up the courage and the bravery to cut the cords with the people, with the roles, with the situations that we no longer feel in alignment with. And to wrap up this full moon day, the moon is going to bump into the true node. This is where we start revisiting our past plans, our past ideas, our past inspirations, applying the new realizations, the new insight, the new perspective, realizing where that leaves us in the here and now in order to prepare a new plan, a new strategy, a new path to actually move forward.